Yeah, you gotta do a hoodie. You gotta do the hood and the hat and
I'll get the
whole
hoodie.
9 yards. Hello and welcome back to the Lunchbox Reviews. We are doing episode 3 of What If? What if the world lost its mightiest heroes? I'm Michelle. As always, I am joined by Lou and Alex.
Hello.
And of course, all the spoilers all the time. Welcome to the Lunchbox. We spoil things for you. So, jumping into the episode. So this episode truly starts off with Nick Fury starting to recruit the Avengers. That is what this episode is all about. And in this different timeline, when he goes to recruit Mr. Anthony Stark and they give him a little injection to fix him, he dies. That's it. It starts off with killing Iron Man. He dies. And it seems like maybe it was Natasha's fault. So she gets like put in, or is going to go to jail from S.H.I.E.L.D. For killing Tony Stark. But of course, Nick Fury knows that she didn't actually do it. So he helps her escape. And then all in kind of this same sequence, we see again Nick Fury about to try to recruit Thor, and Thor dies by arrow from Hawkeye. So then Hawkeye gets put in jail. So what do you guys think about this kind of introductory, like, first third of the episode?
I think we forgot our initial thoughts, so I'm going to start it off with the initial thoughts, and then I'll go with the answer for that. My initial thoughts are, I don't know if it's just all the Marvel things that are happening right now. I'm not getting excited for these episodes anymore. I mean, if you think of it, like, you know, in hindsight, it's kind of a cool episode, but again, with all the Marvel stuff, and I'm a self-confessed, you know, Marvel fanboy, and even I'm just like, yeah, there's not enough time to kind of digest everything that's coming out, even these episodes, because you're supposed to be excited for Shang-Chi, and then there's the Eternals trailer that came out, and then everybody went nuts for the Spider-Man trailer, and then this came out, and then it's like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. Hopefully it'll, you know, get better, but at this point I doubt it. And going with the answer of your question, it was, I guess, kind of just cool. Cool that happened. I mean, Tony Stark dies, you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And a blondie dies, and you sort of, it gets you thinking, like, you know, who done it kind of thing. But then again, around the second act, you sort of, you figure it out. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, Alex, your turn.
All right. So what if we just pulled the plug on this whole show? What if? Huh? What if Marvel execs just, you know, made a better show? I don't know. Lou did have a good point where I think it is Marvel fatigue. Like, I'm of the mindset of, like, if Dr. Octopus is not on the screen, I do not care. And I don't know how long this is gonna last, which is sad to say, because yeah, that Spider-Man trailer, it did a number on me, and my interest has been waning. If I could describe it like as aptly as I could, because I'm a Nine Inch Nails fan, and like they used to do this back in the 90s. Like, imagine there's this music album that you love, and they just someone just remixed the hell out of all the songs from this album you love, but it's like, good or bad, it's just not the album that you love. So we're getting these remixes of these stories that, you know, I prefer and I enjoyed, and like, that's it for them, and then we're just revisiting them with a different lens. And so all these just feel like dissections of these original movies, and it just feels like the movies all over again, just with like these little tweaks instead of doing like just this fresh and brand new thing. Although there are fresh and brand new elements, it just overall doesn't feel too fresh. And as for Act 1 of this episode, okay, it did feel like a whodunit, which is one of the interesting things about What If, that like each episode seems to be like a different genre take on the old superhero trope. First episode, just straight up original superhero show story, and the second episode you have your heist story, and this one, whodunit, who's the killer. Okay, cool. But I feel like it was it was either on purpose or by accident, but it was like telegraphed and like really, really obvious that it was a tiny little thing that happened. Like the moment that Hawkeye's hand went like this, it's like, oh, someone small is messing with him. And then to spoil Act 2, Betty Ross mentions that there's nanotechnology, and then oh, okay, so it's a person that's small. But yeah, it's, I don't know. Yeah, no me gusta.
Yeah, I feel like maybe the reason I forgot our initial reactions, because I'm like, I think our initial reactions are all the same. Marvel fatigue is real. I didn't think it would actually happen. I felt it so hard this week, where I had a moment where I was like, I think if there wasn't so much going on, I would have really liked this episode. But I was just like, that's another thing to get through. Like, give me the other Marvel stuff. And also, I think there's something to be said from taking a break, because it feels like it's been go, show, constant Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And so it almost takes away the excitement of when a new thing comes out, because I'm not excited for each episode. I'm just like, okay, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of Marvel. I'm tired of the same stupid faces. Just go to the movies. Give me the things that I know are super,
especially comparing
awesome.
it to the excitement of WandaVision, like the first Marvel show in like almost a year and a half, and we were just eating that up, and
Yeah. Well, it's been months of shows now, absolutely months. And I think there's something to be said for the Marvel movies, where there's always the space between the movies, and that just builds the excitement, builds the hype. We're like, oh man, it's been so long since I saw a Spider-Man or a whatever. And that makes you more excited. And also, honestly, I think it makes all of us a little bit less critical, because we're not constantly bombarded. So we're willing to accept, things that aren't perfect, things that aren't like, 10 out of 10 amazing. But now that we're seeing so much, we're like, this needs to be so much better, because I still have the last thing I watched so fresh in my mind. And I think that's the issue that I felt with this episode, because the story did not thrill me at all from the get-go. I predicted the general idea of what had happened. So then it was just a matter of like getting through it to see if I was right. And I was, and it wasn't a fun, like, oh, I was right. It was Mephisto, like one of those moments. It wasn't those, oh, I had my theory right. It was like, cool, that was predictable, and that's disappointing to me. So that's the initial thought. And then into the first act, okay, that was it. Oh, okay. It's so funny, because it's almost a little bit what we asked for when we watched the first episode, because we were saying it'd be cool if it was, similar story, but then with a dark twist. And like, this is a dark twist. Like, what if all the Avengers were murdered? Like, there's a serial killer killing the Avengers, but it's not done in a really suspenseful, really dramatic way. It feels very spoon-fed and boring to me. I didn't feel anything when Iron Man died. I thought I was gonna feel something, and I was just like, he already died. I don't like, he's already dead in my heart. I don't know. I don't really care. And then as the deaths pile up, I care less and less. So I didn't love the first act. It was probably my least favorite of all of the acts, even though it was setting up the premise. Yeah. So moving into the second act, we see Black Widow has escaped, and she is looking for somebody to help figure out what happened, and she's looking for somebody to help tell her what was in the little syringe that she injected Iron Man with, thinking that it was a poison or there's something wrong with the actual serum that was in it. At that point, she goes and meets Miss Betty Ross, who infers that there's some nanotech situation happening because the serum didn't even escape out of, like, didn't even get injected into him properly. So at that point, anyone who's paying attention could probably draw a pretty clear conclusion of what could be happening. At the same time, we do see that Hawkeye is in prison with S.H.I.E.L.D. and he dies. He gets killed. And then Fury calls Natasha and he's like, hey, are you in a secure location? And she says no. And he's like, cool, Hawkeye died. So, you know, he just drops that on her, which was a moment. And Fury realizes that the serial killer is killing all of the potential Avenger people, because none of them have technically been recruited yet except for Natasha. But the only two alive now are her and Bruce Banner, who just happens to be hiding in the cupboard in the room that she is in. So she finds Bruce looking like a weird Edward Norton, maybe Bruce, like, who, I don't know, didn't look like Mark Ruffalo to me, though it was his voice. And that is when General Ross attacks with all of the tanks, and all of the army shows up. And meanwhile, Loki and his Asgardian army shows up to avenge the death of his brother, and he meets Nick Fury. So that is Act 2. Thoughts?
You know what? Again, we're gonna keep. Oh man, I hate this, but yeah, like even with the scenes with like Coulson, I love Coulson, and usually his zingers are kind of funny. Even I was just watching and just like he does a joke and I was like, you know,
hey, he loves Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Password Steve.
Yay. The one thing about Banner though that was cool is that that was from the Edward Norton Hulk movie, but it was Mark Ruffalo. The way the Hulk actually this could be my favorite scene, but it's the Hulk exploding was my I think it's my favorite scene. It'll the episode will come back to me, but for now that was my favorite scene. Yeah, just I wish they had Liv Tyler doing that, but that'd just be kind of weird because that was Mark Ruffalo, who was actually I think wearing the same shirt that Edward Norton was in that movie.
Yeah. That is like Edward Norton, Bruce Banner, voiced by Mark Ruffalo. But then when he turns to Hulk, he's Mark Ruffalo Hulk. So,
yeah, but yeah, Hulk explodes. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Sorry, audience. We're phoning it in today.
We're boring today, guys. Sorry. Oh my god.
Well, I can just say that Hulk expanding thing, they reminded me of what was the little girl from Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory? Was it Violet?
Veruca.
I think it was Violet.
Oh, yeah, Veruca. Violet, and then Veruca in the newer versions, right?
Right.
Isn't that...
Right. So I thought like the Hulk was gonna get all big and round, and Thunderbolt Ross would just have to like roll them out, like little tiny people. All right. Well, I mean, what can you say about this show? What if I passed it along to Michelle?
Oh boy. Yeah, for me, the big standout moment was Fury dropping the bomb that Hawkeye died. I just thought that was so stupid the way they did that. And this has been an issue I've had with the What If show in general, because all these characters are supposed to have like, you know, emotional attachments to each other and all of these things that we know and we love. And we know like when Hawkeye tries to seppuku himself for the stone, Natasha's like, no way, you have a family. Like, you're my family. We're, you know, we have this very like platonic love and it's really nice. And then Fury's like, hey, he's dead. And the reaction was just rough. I just thought that was kind of a silly, like they had to move the plot along by telling her that he was dead, but it could have been handled better in a way that actually meant something. Because even though we're watching an episode in which all our heroes are getting killed, it felt like there were still no stakes. Like even though they were all dying left, right, and center, it really didn't feel like it mattered at all. which I would have liked it to matter a little bit. I would have liked to feel a little bit of like, oh no, what's gonna happen? It was very much like, cool. That moving on to the next one. Let's see the next death. I do agree with Lou that Banner / Hulk's death was probably the best one. It was the most entertaining. It was a little bit surprising. I was like, what is that? Like, is he raging so hard? What's going on? And then he exploded, and I had a little bit of a chuckle at that. But it was weak. That's all weak. So moving forward, we see that Natasha is trying to figure out, she's trying to like get into the Shield database. So she calls Coulson, and Coulson helps her log in with his password, Steve. I love Steve, which at this point he hasn't even met Steve. So are you okay, Coulson? What's your deal? So she logs in and she gets some type of answer, and she goes to call Fury to tell him, and she says, Hope. It's all about Hope. And then we see her die off screen. Like, we don't even see her die. We just know she gets attacked by, at this point, you're seeing it from the perspective of the killer, who is this big, looking at her and fighting her. So if you haven't already figured out a slight idea of who the heck, that'll do it for you. And then Fury realizes, he kind of connects the dots of Hope. It's all about Hope. And we see him go to meet with Loki, who has taken up residence on Earth because he's trying to avenge his dead brother. And then fast forward a little bit, and we see Fury at the gravestone of one Hope Van Dyne. And we get the big old reveal that it's her papa, Hank Pym, who is murdering the Avengers. Because apparently she died working for S.H.I.E.L.D. and now he hates S.H.I.E.L.D. and somehow has decided that means he should kill the Avengers before they work for S.H.I.E.L.D. A fight ensues in which Hank Pym, Ant-Man, or he's I guess in the Wasp. I don't know what's his outfit. He's yellow
like
jacket.
The yellow
yellow jacket.
Yeah. So Yellow Jacket, Hank Pym versus Fury, who surprisingly holds his own extremely well. And then it's revealed that it's Loki, the trickster god, all along. Surprise. Loki's fighting. And then they beat him. And that's like, what else happens? I guess that's kind of it. So that's the big fight.
Loki takes over.
Fury. Oh yeah, fake Fury, aka Loki, defeats Hank Pym. And then Loki's like, you know what? I think I'm going to stay here a while. And then the next day it's revealed he's taken over Earth because there are no Avengers to stop him. And that's it. That's the episode.
Oh, wait. You forgot the actual theme of Hope of the episode, where Nick Fury, you don't mind I commandeer the ship here. What if I wrap this up? So Nick Fury finds the Steve-sicle, the Capsicle, as they call it, the frozen Captain America body and shield. And then Captain Marvel shows up right behind them. And the logical thing he should have done to be like, oh, Captain who? Hey, Danvers, come with me. Come take care of this for me. You by yourself. Come on.
Where's the fight?
There's only room for one captain in this planet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you need Captain America if you have Captain Marvel? I'm sorry. I love Captain America, but anyway, yeah.
That's it. That's the episode. Who wants to share their thoughts on the ending?
I'll share my thoughts. There was two things running in my mind, and none of them were good. First one was like, I think we mentioned it earlier, how we figured this out once we saw the name and the X, and it just it's so easy, just connect the dots. It wasn't really a whoa surprise for me. And then the second is that I did not care for Hank Pym's motivations. I understand you're a father, you lost your daughter, but what was the point of just killing everyone? And instead of, wouldn't you just kind of destroy Shield, the organization, from like inside out, instead of like, I mean, you're the Wasp or Ant-Man, or you can go small, you can get in there and blow things up, destroy the actual organization. But you didn't. You killed, I understand kind of Natasha, Clint, and wanting Fury dead, but the rest is like, was just collateral damage. Is I don't understand you. But yeah, also another thing at the end, things that normally I'd go kind of crazy for, like, oh, the shield, oh, Captain Marvel. This was just like, oh, Captain Marvel, the shield. And then I remember, like, I think Alex mentioned something about all these people now are gonna be kind of another team that we're probably gonna see in a few episodes. And that's probably, I don't even know if we're gonna get to those episodes. Yeah, those are my thoughts.
I'm gonna disagree with Lou.
Oh,
fight Lou, not me. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hank Pym's motivation, it was schlocky. It was dumb, right? What else would you call it? Like there was something you called it. Like, yes, it was, but it's fine because it's like, a comic book cartoon take on it. So like, hey, I'm gonna avenge my dead daughter and wife. They all died for Shield, so I'm gonna get revenge on Shield. That works for me. That's fine. That's for me. I like I'm like, I can take it. Whatever. It's a little ridiculous considering it's Hank Pym, but hey, I think like what this episode really suffered from was that we all knew within like in under 10 minutes, we all knew who the killer was, and we had to wait 20 minutes to get to that point. So we're like, okay, the rest of the Avengers are gonna die. It would have been better if they just kept it a secret until the end, where we're like, the Avengers are dying by these mysterious circumstances, and like be a little vaguer with the clues, because Michelle, you mentioned that fight, and it's like, yeah, we know who fights like that, like in the first person perspective. Like, yeah, we know it's a tiny person, but yeah, this sucks. That's it, Michelle.
Oh boy.
End it, Michelle.
Yeah, I mean, can I end it by just being like, cool, I agree? No. For me, I mean, if like, okay, I'm gonna have a moment here and try to think of a positive thing, because I don't like being a grump about stuff. So the thing that I liked, I thought it was silly and it was funny that Loki was Fury. I was like, cool. I totally saw that coming. The moment he went to Loki, I'm like, we know there's something there. I thought that was fun. Like that was a fun moment to see that fight, and to see Loki kind of just like taunting Pym. That was fun to me, because to my knowledge, those characters have never interacted at all that I've seen. So I thought that was kind of interesting and kind of, a fresh take. Two characters who've not been on screen together. Okay, I will allow it. So that was the best part of the episode, which isn't saying much because it wasn't super great, but that was my favorite part. And the final reveal with like Cap, Shield, and Captain Marvel, I laughed. I just absolutely laughed. Like, do I care? Not really. Because I'm sorry, in my mind, those are my, like, the not weaker power wise, but weaker as in terms of characters of the Avengers. I don't love either of the Caps. I don't. So I'm like, oh man, all the other people are dead. They brought a little bit more spice to things. I'm tired of just the fucking white people. That's so rude. They're all white. All the Avengers, all the main ones. That's rude. But you know what I mean? I'm just like, I was bored of that kind of character. The really patriotic, like, oh, this is me. I'm tired of those characters, and I don't love that they are the ones that survived. That's me being grumpy about it. That's it. Those are my thoughts. It's weak. It was weak sauce. I also feel like, because I'm at the point where I'm so burnt out, I even think if the other 2 episodes of What If had happened this week, I would have liked them less still. Because thinking back, I'm like, oh, I rated them pretty high. I like, oh yeah, they're fun. That's a good time. If I'd seen them now, seeing all the other Marvel stuff being burnt out, I would dislike those episodes more. T'Challa Star-Lord still like solid for special reasons that can't be replicated with any other story, any other character. That's going to stay special. But the first episode now, if that had happened this week, I would have been just as grumpy about it. So I don't think necessarily this episode's worse than the first episode. I just think the timing combined with the story makes it feel worse. Now that we've just been grumpy today and disliked things, like, hello, I thought we were all Marvel fans. We hate Marvel today. What would you both rate this out of 10? And any other thoughts you want to share before we finish?
I can go first, I guess. Final thoughts are, I was just thinking throughout our whole conversation that if this was like before, this was the first thing that came out, every episode would have been like at least an 8 or a 9. Like,
oh,
like after that no year of like Marvel, it was just like, yeah, every little detail would be like, oh yeah, did you see that detail? Now I guess the fatigue is real. I'm trying to find positive spin on it. I hope it gets better. It's like I'm starting to doubt it now. I'm still gonna watch all the episodes, but I don't know how I'm gonna feel. But just being a Marvel fanboy, you know what? I'm gonna give this a generous 5 out of 10. But really, it's like
now, is this what it's like?
But 5 out of 10.
No, cheater. I was just gonna say, is this what it feels like being a DC fan with the crappy shows? I don't know.
Right?
Oh, some shade, some more shade.
Hey, if the DC fans, I've watched every single season of The Flash. It's getting dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber every season. I've still watched it all. Sorry, Alex.
Wow.
DC peaked with Smallville. That's what I'm gonna say. DC peaked with Smallville. You can't beat it. Best show ever. Love it.
Wow.
So good.
That was ages ago.
I know. But it came at the perfect time.
Yeah. Tom Welling was a hunk, wasn't he?
and I'm not gonna lie, Justin Hartley as Green Arrow was like, oh my god, that was my man right there. He was so
I still have a crush on Kristen Crook until now.
Oh,
what'd she do? Is she problematic?
Can we dedicate this episode? No. Oh wait, was she? No,
I don't know.
That's Chloe that became the
yeah. She was in
Chloe?
a cult. Yeah, Chloe was in a sex cult.
Chloe. Yeah, she's in jail now, I think.
Yeah, that was insane. That was crazy to hear about.
Oh, she is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's reassuring. I think she tried to let's say abduct Hermione there. I forgot her name.
Watson.
Hermione.
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson. Yeah. On the Twitter, I remember I saw some old tweets, and it's like, pump those brakes.
Creepy.
Yeah.
We're more excited to talk about.
So that was my score. That was my score for episode 3 of What If. I forgot what I gave episode 1. I think it was a 3.5, and like I'd probably give this the same. Like it's devoid of creativity, because I mentioned Nine Inch Nails earlier, so I'll just mention one of their songs, "The Copy of a Copy of a Copy," and it's just it's especially with this Marvel fatigue, like you don't want, enough already. Give me some new stuff. Bring in like God knows who, like Dormammu something.
I really hope. I don't know what the order is, but I'm really hoping Moon Knight is before Hawkeye, because I have a feeling I'm not even gonna like Hawkeye. I want Moon Knight first.
Yeah, it's possible.
I need a Marvel break. Fresh. That's what if I took a break from Marvel? That's how I feel, honestly. I like Marvel stuff, but what if I took a break? The fatigue is real, and I think it's ruining what could have been fun. Like my attitude going into the first episode, I'm like, yeah, I'm here for a good time. It's not a good time anymore. I'm bored. it's half an hour and I was making fun of the two of you for being on your phones missing the Tesseract. I'm like, I didn't watch half that episode. Like, what happened? I don't even know. You could tell from my explanation. Like, I half watched it. I had one eye on it and one eye everywhere else. The fatigue is real. The story isn't, the what ifs could be so good if they were so wild. And honestly, I think for me, I'm getting tired of the same characters all the time. Like, what if they just brought in a new character straight up and had them be more the focus of the show? That'd be so fun. Like, what if they gave you the character everyone wants? Like, what if Mephisto was there? Right? Just something new. We know these characters, and now because you are not treating these characters as the fully fleshed out characters they are in the full cinematic universe, we lose a lot of the emotional appeal. Like, they're dying left and right. I don't care. I probably would have cared more if they introduced a whole bunch of new characters and then killed all the new characters, because I would have been like, oh, I would have liked the fresh new characters maybe. So I think it was weak. Like, I want to be, I'd say like a 5, honestly. I wish I could say higher, but the Marvel fatigue and just I'm bored of it already, and it's really hurting. It's hurting my viewing experience. I'm not having a good time anymore. So when I watch it with my friends, I look more forward to whatever we do afterwards, where we just watch stupid YouTube videos for funsies. Like, I don't care about the show we're supposed to be watching when we watch our show together. And that's a bummer. So with all that being said and all of our negativity today, I would love to hear in the comments below if you disagree with us, especially if you disagree with us. Like, if you're not having Marvel fatigue, how are you doing it? What's your secret sauce? What are you doing?
Share it Tell with us.
Yeah, we could definitely use a palate cleanser. We could maybe use a palate cleanser if you have something to suggest. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that beautiful stuff. And we will, even though we're being grumpy today, we are committed to seeing this through. So definitely subscribe so you can see if it gets better from here for us, or if we just continue
or
to
just
be old
enjoy
and
us
grumpy.
Getting worse and worse. We're just trashing every single episode. That should be fun if it goes that way.
That too, especially because we genuinely and generally tend to like things. And besides the horror stuff we do, so if you watch our horror stuff, you know we don't like some things. But as far as Marvel goes, I think we all tend to generally like it. So this is fresh and exciting for us. As always, I've been Michelle. I've been joined by Lou and Alex, and we will see you all next time. Bye.